Hello to you there watching. My name is Nyawara Ndambia. Karibu sana to my channel. Okay, so today I want to talk about some of the things that I had to release in order to receive me. Okay, and I would akin this to drilling a well. Okay, at the end of the day, when you're drilling a well, your goal is to get to the water, and this water has a lot of earth that's on it, or like there's a lot of earth that needs to be filtered out in order for you to get access to the water. Okay, so some of the things that I had to consciously and intentionally filter out was gossip. Okay, so gossip is one of those things that are like a faucet that just is draining your energy. Your energy is just leaking, okay? Because gossip is energy, time, focus, attention that is spent on other people who are not you. You get me? And I realize also, like, gossip is a distraction, because if you're focused on other people, then that means you're not focusing on yourself, okay? And I understand sometimes chai inakuanga moto. Ai, chai ni moto kama pasi. Lakini pika chai yako. That's what I tell you. We pika chai yako, wachana na chai ya watu wengine. And also, like, when I filtered out gossip, it naturally also filtered out the people I was engaging just in gossip with. Because I realized that people who I had around me, that kama hatuongei about watu wengine, tunaongea nini? You know what I mean? And now, because now I'm intentional about filtering out gossip and focusing all my attention, energy on myself, then that naturally filtered out people, the gossip, and the spaces where that gossip was we're engaging in that gossip. You get me? Yeah. Another thing was also, I realized there were people who I was prioritizing over myself, which is in itself is also like a distraction. It's not also like, it's a distraction, because when you prioritize other people, you're not prioritizing yourself. Or like, let me say this, I was prioritizing others without balance. You know what I mean? So I was so focused on helping other people that I wasn't helping me. Okay, and in that, how can I say this? So sometimes I could clearly identify what other people were struggling with, or what other people needed to work out, and I would try to help them. Okay, and I also learned that sometimes you helping somebody else is taking away from them being able to help themselves, because everybody's on their own journey, and sometimes, like, you need to give people the opportunity to be able to solve things for themselves. Okay, and then also, because I didn't have balance in terms of prioritizing, I wasn't prioritizing myself. So now, once I started to focus on me, I was like, let me filter out all these people who, because actually, you know, there's some people who don't even want to be helped. Let's start there. Kuna watu wanapitia vitu, but they're just okay being in that cycle where they're just, oh, I just saw a bee. They're just okay being the victim, or being in that space where they are just going through it. Okay, the people who just don't want to be helped. So I start prioritizing people who, first of all, don't want to be helped. Second of all, like, not everybody who needs help needs to be helped by you. That's the thing. And also just giving people opportunities to be able to see things for themselves. Okay, another thing I filtered out was making excuses for others. Mbona speech yangu leo? Making excuses for others, or thinking that I was the exception to the rule. So in that, I mean, you can be around people or spaces where people behave in a way that you clearly can see, this is not the right way. So I stopped making excuses for other people. And also, when people tell me who they are, I believe them. Like, I'm not the exception to the rule. I remember there's somebody who I had relations with, and at the very beginning when we were started like hanging out, they told me, "Wede unaja mi nakwanga an a-hole, a behind hole." And at the time, nilisikia, yes. But then maybe I thought, maybe they're an a-hole to other people, but not me. They're nice to me. Up until we had a falling out, because true to the word, they were an a-hole. So when people tell you who they are, believe them and stop making excuses for other people's behaviors. Bro, ukionyeshwa, we ona. Oh, ona for real. Another thing I also filtered out was I stopped giving people access to me. So the people who I realized whenever they do something wrong, they'd seek forgiveness, but they're not seeking forgiveness from a space of accountability. They're seeking forgiveness from a space of they just want access back to you. They just want things to be how they used to be, bro. So, and another thing about forgiveness is really more so for you than it is for other people, because it releases that energy where you're focused on other people, because you're like, oh, release, just breathe, because when you just breathe, you're letting more of you out. Okay, so just don't focus on other people. Unaweza fanyiwa, yes, but vitu zingine tuachia God, to be honest, because hey, and just because I forgive you doesn't mean I want you near me. So use your discernment. The people who will genuinely want to take accountability and they're really sorry and want to do better, and the people who just want to be forgiven so they can get back to how things were or just get access back to you. So yeah, this is another thing that I also had to filter out. Another thing I also filtered out, which I think I mentioned in another video, was identity ties. Okay, so I stopped identifying with behaviors, thoughts, habits that I did before I was aware or conscious of the things I was doing. Like, I stopped making things mean, oh my god, I'm a bad person, and oh my god, no, because this puts you in an energy where you're not able to move. So when you're forgiving people, also forgive yourself. The number one person you need to forgive is yourself, because that frees you up to be able to receive more, because umeachilia vitu, you've let go of the old. Okay, so don't let things be like an identity tie, or this means I'm this kind of person, or this means it's more so listening without thinking or assigning meaning. Okay, yeah. Another thing was I stopped being afraid of being the villain in other people's stories, because there's this thing I had online, right? Someone said, when you give people the benefit of a doubt, the doubt be benefiting them. So yeah, so I stopped being afraid of being the villain. Me, once you don't have access, bro, not my business. Remember what I said? It's not your business. We focus on yourself. Na chai yako. We pika chai yako. Another thing that really helped me was, before, I feel like I was giving from a space that was taken away from me. Okay, so I started giving from a space from giving myself. In that, I mean, for example, I remember there's a time where we were at a basketball court, right? And guys were just engaging in the sport for fun. And some of us were spectating and others were engaging in the sport. And the guys who were playing were like calling in people to be, the more the merrier, to engage in the sport. And I remember at the time, I was like, hey, I had like a fear of embarrassment. So I was like, me, because I didn't perceive or think basketball is something that I'm good at. I was like, hey, Mr. Kikujaibisha. So wacha tu nikae hapa kwa sidelines ni spectate, right? And also that really made me question, na lini nilianza kutofanya vitu ati juu sidhani I'm good at the thing. You know what I mean? So I remember clearly this person, and they really inspired me. They just went in. They were really bad at the sport, but they just played for the fun of it. And what that did, it really inspired me and gave me permission to release that baggage of, oh my god, like you can just do things for the fun of it, and you don't have to be necessarily good at it, because if you don't care, nobody else cares, because everything is from you and is for you. So we kama hujali, hata mwingine akijali haikujalishi, you know what I mean? So yeah, another example is, like, say you're like at a forum, right, and the host is like, we need some volunteers, and the people who just stand up and walk right up to the stage without even knowing, like, oh, what they're going to be engaging in or this or the other. That really inspires me to also be able to just stand up and just walk up to the stage, because hey, see, it's volunteering. Yeah, you just go up. And those are people just being themselves or giving to themselves, which also give to me, you know what I mean? So I started giving also from a space of giving myself, because nearly realized there were a lot of people who I was giving that were taken away from me. So I started giving also from a space of just pouring into me, because when you pour into you, it's also holding a mirror to show other people where they can also be able to pour into themselves. So those are just some of the points that I had top of mind. And share in the comments below if there are some things that you're also filtering out in the process, or have filtered out, that's been able to help you also receive more of you. Okay, I hope you go forth and be you and uncover all the earth to get to your water.